have a lawless city right now.
South Tacoma is a hellhole.
Toddler was reportedly left alone in a hotel room with drugs and printed money.
A suspect in an attempted home burglary is dead after Pierce County Sheriff's deputies say he broke into a horse trailer and refused to come out when it was set on fire.
Yeah. He was in his underwear only.
Stabbing a father and son in broad daylight. 29-year-old man was found dead. 2 men were shot and killed on South Tacoma Way.
Breaking news out of Tacoma this morning. We are just learning 2 men were arrested for kidnapping.
Officer shot someone near the 11th Street Bridge.
Street racing returns to the streets of Tacoma.
Tacoma police officer plowing through a crowd of people.
And again, let's take you back to Tacoma. On 76th and Pacific Avenue South, they say they found a 24-year-old woman dead.
And Tacoma police reported 7 homicides between January 1st and April 11th of this year.
Homicide numbers are up at Tacoma more than 80% this year.
After a Pierce County deputy shot an armed teen in Puyallup.
A man suspected of hitting 2 Tacoma police officers with a stolen SUV.
Tacoma police investigating a deadly late-night shooting.
Yeah, it happened just after 10 p.m. on the city's east side.
The 7th time a Pierce County deputy has opened fire on a suspect this year.
Also out of Pierce County today, a shooting at a gas station on Hosmer Street.
Police discovered a 31-year-old woman who was shot and killed. Her body left in a minivan.
25-year-old was gunned down yesterday morning.
A mother is dead and her 3 young children are in protective custody.
13-year-old girl was shot while just sitting in her car.
25-year-old woman was shot and killed.
Road rage incident that turned deadly. A 56-year-old man was killed in South Tacoma.
The family of a young mother murdered in South Tacoma.
A staggering amount of crime.
This is a place of worship for people who come to this temple in Tacoma. 2 members were attacked.
4 people are hurt after someone shot at a vehicle in Tacoma. It happened around 5:30 this afternoon at South 56 in Yakima.
There are no repercussions. My neighbors don't want to call the cops anymore.
High speeds, burned out tires, large chaotic meetup.
This week began on Sunday with a 22-year-old woman shot to death on East House Street in Tacoma. On Monday, it was a 48-year-old found dead in this strip mall.
Sad thing to say that we've gotten good at taking care of officer deaths.
3 stores hit in just 4 days. All pot shops, all robberies, all taking a deadly turn.
Out of Tacoma, police are investigating 2 homicides. First, a drive-by shooting happening at about 11:15 last night. A few hours later, and about 4 miles away, a man was shot and killed on South Tacoma Way.
For a woman who's accused of hitting and killing her estranged husband with her car.
A random act of violence rocked this apartment complex in South Tacoma early this morning. Over a dozen bullets flew into the residence of a 63-year-old woman.
Valentine's Day, when Tacoma police believe Jen Staley was chased down during a road rage incident. That led to a crash and her death.
Right now, a murder suspect, he is in the hospital after Tacoma police shot him in Lakewood.
Tacoma police say they shot a man today holding some kind of weapon outside the entrance to the Tacoma Mall.
The shooting happening in the middle of the day around 3:30 in the afternoon.
Streets in Tacoma during a shooting that killed 4 people.
By the window of the restaurant before firing into the building and running off into the night.
Investigate an overnight homicide.
They found a 56-year-old man shot.
Not overly shocked. We had a stabbing in our back alleyway not that long ago.
After a 15-year-old was shot and killed.
We just had 2 murders last night here in Pierce County.
The carjacking and the shootings and everything is just too much.
Just a few miles away, a robbery at this pot shop turned deadly as well.
Breaking news in Tacoma right now, where thieves smashed into a Walgreens and got away with money out of the ATM. Sheriff's deputy was killed in the line of duty. More deadly violence in Pierce County.
Crime continues to plague this community. Homicides again are up, and this is just the latest one.
Hello, and welcome to me. You're watching Late at Night with Kyle Carrier.
I'm, for whatever reason, Kyle Carrier. And, you know, you're watching late at night, and it's so late at night that it's actually noon the next day. Shit, I actually thought it was closer to like 7 or maybe 10, but it is noon. Today, we're going to be talking about Tacoma, the 253, T-Town, Tacktown, Tack City, Tacompton, Tacoma, Washington, my hometown. It's just crazy to think that Tacoma's turning into this fucking lawless wasteland. But it's insane because, yeah, I've straight up just seen people just walk into the middle of the road. This is normally at nighttime. I've seen this like 4 times. People just walk into the middle of the road, set a bag on fire, and just walk off. They just set fires in the streets. Or people will just light toilet paper roll on fire and just floss it into the road. And I'm just like... like, I'm not joking. I'm not fucking kidding you. I'm not joking. When I still delivered pizza, I went and delivered pizza to one of those fucking neighborhoods. Because our delivery area is mostly all of Tacoma. I mean, Lakewood has its own place, yeah. And we don't go into Fife or any of that area. But, like, we have this whole city. We go downtown into fucking Hilltop. All of Hilltop is our delivery area. And it's funny, that's kind of where this place was. And it's funny, I delivered a pizza down there, and I had to film some of it. I had to, because the sun was going down. It wasn't even totally getting dark yet. And I had to walk past, like, one of those fucking encampments. I had to walk through where people were having bonfires on the side of the road. And I walked into this apartment to deliver this pizza, where, as I walked in, the front door was taken off. And you just walk into this building where people are just hanging out, and you go up the stairs and find these apartments that are scattered throughout this place. And there was human shit on the stairs going up this place. And how do I know it's human shit? I didn't, except for the fact that there was toilet paper all over the fucking stairs and shit also. So I was like, God damn it. That was one of the last deliveries I took, because I was like, well, you know, I make more money managing and being on the inside. How about you just promote me, I'll level up, and I'll just never go out there again. Okay? Because it's getting so ridiculous. But being at the store is no better, because, yeah, we got robbed. I've seen like 4 literal zombies. This girl that I saw the other day will haunt my nightmares for the rest of my life. And she was sort of attractive. But I'm not even going to get into that. I think I'm probably just attracted to her because some weird shit. I don't know what the fuck that's about. But this bitch was insane. She was crawling, like, I turn around and I just see this bitch crawling out from behind our counter, like, with this piece of paper. She was looking at the stack of boxes that we had, because we have hiring things stuck on our boxes, and she apparently decided to crawl behind our counter and grab one from the middle stack and just, like, crawl away with it. And I just turn around and I see this fucking bitch just crawl, and I was like, what the fuck? It's just like... And so I decided to just slowly inch that direction. And then she wanted to order pizza. And so I sort of had to, well, I guess I can refuse service to people, but I was like, okay, she has money, I'll take her order. But I got up to the thing, and there's like a piece of glass in front of us. But I walk up to the front counter, and I immediately smell this chick. And she smells like a murder. It's the only way to describe it. She smelled like sadness, and it straight up stuck in my nostrils for the rest of my life. It was a new smell, and it straight up gives me chills. And it was so, like, I smelled just how depressing just the world was off of her. I smelled her, and it smelled like just, and it wasn't even bad. It was like perfume that's been on for just ever, with trash and just hatred and a murder. I swear to God, she smelled like blood and lotion and cigarettes, and but not cigarettes. Like, it was just so many bad, weird things, and it fucking creeped me out so bad. When I smelled her, if I was an animal, all my hair would have stood up because I got goosebumps. But as soon as I smelled that bitch, I was like, oh my, what am I smelling? What the fuck? Why am I, like, clinically depressed now? Like, how can you do that to somebody through smell? But it's funny because I was like, oh God, okay, what are you trying to order? And I look up, and I just slowly reveal more of her as I look up. And it's just like, oh God damn it, it's getting worse. Because she's like this attractive-ish mixed chick that had been bitten by a zombie and is now a zombie, apparently. Because she just had something coming out of her mouth to where it was crusted on her. Like she'd eaten something or was drooling, or something was crusted around her mouth, like like very much like crusted around her mouth. And I looked up and then when I accidentally looked her directly in the eyes, she had on these just ridiculous contacts that just, I'll remember her face for the rest of my life. The fact that she ordered a pizza like a normal person and was just like this scared little fucking creature, I will remember that interaction for the rest of my life. I was like, holy fucking shit, what the fuck? I let her just fucking chill on the bench for the rest of the night. I was like, dude, I don't even give a fuck. I have a pet zombie now. I don't even give a shit. That's where we're at. She's not harming anybody. I feel for her. I feel super bad for this bitch. I'm pretty sure she just crawled out of the woods. I have no idea. She's pretty much a wild animal. Scared the fuck out of me. Like, I was kind of like joking with her to my friends, but that's no joke. I was like, what the fuck? I think the context is what made me attracted to it, though. I was like, this bitch is just cosplaying that she's a zombie. But I was like, no, but the smell tells me otherwise, though. She is actually, it just ate someone, I'm pretty sure. Because, yeah, but I remember thinking, it's hard to get contacts in, though. So this person's at least a little mentally there enough to be able to get contacts in. Because, you know, I failed the first few times I tried to get contacts in. I mean, like, it's an event, you know? You gotta have some sort of something. And, like, somebody else can't put... It's like, how are you gonna crawl out of the woods but you have contacts in? You know what I mean? Super confusing interaction. I've gone so far off the beaten path of this story that it's absolutely ridiculous. But no, I'm just trying to tell you where I live and what's happening before I tell you, or before I show you these news clips. And I'm trying to give you contacts and some background. But yeah, there's been all these murders that happen around me that aren't even on here. So yeah, isn't that ridiculous? But yeah, every time I drive home, there'll be just like sections of the street blocked off, just cops just... They're like, hey, go that way. Yeah, one day, they had this whole fucking area sectioned off. It's like 2 in the morning. I'm trying to drive home. They have this whole area fucking sectioned off. They have like dogs and all this shit. And I'm like, oh God. And I drive right up to this cop on accident because I kind of have to. And he's like, go that way. And I was like, hey, no, I live right there. Can I go home? I hate that I have to ask you that, but can I go home? Like, I don't know what you're even doing or who you're looking for, but I'm not gonna just go that way because I'm going home. Like, and it's behind you like 5 feet that way. And he's just like I pretty much said it to him like that too. Like, I forget what I said, but I was just like, I can't just go that way though, you imbecile. But I remember he was just like, oh, okay, yeah, no, yeah, obviously, yeah, sorry. I just they're so fed up with like the criminals around here that it's like, as long as you're a normal person, they're just like, yeah, go, yeah, fucking goddamn, so many zombies out here, dude. Fuck, you insane? What are you doing out here 2 in the morning? God, yeah, I almost shot you. Yeah, fuck. If you're a normal one, yeah, get in your house, go lock your door, fucking grab your assault rifle and go to bed. You're just what the fuck? No. Yeah, there's always just blaring sirens just up and down the street. I swear to God, I hear gunshots all the time. I used to live on the Indian reservation. So I'm used to fireworks. Like, I lived through Armageddon, watching a 4th of July on the Indian reservation 3 years in a row. I've walked through Armageddon a time or two. It was fucking insane, dude. Go to an Indian reservation, just walk through it on fucking 4th of July. Shit's nuts. You think you're in Afghanistan or something. It's fucking insane. So I know what fucking fireworks sound like. And I know that most of the ones I do hear around here are fireworks. People have their fireworks over here too. But they also just blow shit up, like just make bombs and shit. But yeah, every now and again you'll just hear dish, 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 bop, bop, dish, 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 bop, bop. It's just like my last girlfriend, we heard something like that. Yeah, one of the first times I had her over. It was like late at night, one of those nights. Brought her over and we just hear like pop, 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 bam, pop, pop. And she just looks at me. And it's funny because every now and again you'll hear fireworks and you'll be like, oh, is it gunshots or fireworks? Every now and again you'll hear something right outside your window and it makes your hair stand up. And you look, and she literally looked at me and she's like, that wasn't fireworks. And I was like, oh yeah, my body's initial reaction to just like cringe away from my window and get down, like told me that yeah, those weren't fireworks. Yeah. Like, I don't hit the deck when I hear fireworks. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? My body doesn't subconsciously fucking hit the deck when I hear a mortar shell or a firecracker. You know what I mean? There's a difference in my mind built into my autopilot somewhere. You know? You'll at least get a fucking bad vibe. Like, because if somebody straight up did just get murdered outside your window, you at least have a bad vibe. Whether you're like, oh, I wonder if that was fireworks. No, you feel that soul or whatever leaving, and you feel the negativity rippling through the neighborhood. And I feel like that's what I felt. I was like, oh, fucking shit. I was like, well, I got my little thing over there. I'm going to get my assault rifle. I will shoot somebody with an arrow if I have to. I can make Molotov cocktails. I got a fucking garage full of things that have gasoline. I got a hose I can siphon some gas. Let's set some shit on fire. No, but yeah. I've dealt with so many ridiculous people. People are just, I don't trust anybody anymore. Straight up. I can't trust anything or anybody. It's just, everything is chaos. It's kind of funny though. But yeah, it's just terrible because everywhere that's left in the world, slowly is just turning bad. It's like you think about all the places in the world that are at war, or like all the places where it's just like they're really poor and like just surviving is a struggle. And then you think about how many places are civilized. And then you're like, okay, China is fucking going to hell in a handbasket. I don't know if you know this, 25 million people literally walked in their houses. It's about to be the world's biggest just riot. There's 25 million people. I don't even know if you know what that is, but it is too many people. It's too many. It's too many of anything. You don't want 25 million of anything ever. It's too much. They're on COVID restriction. There's 25 million people that are about to just starve to death and or kill themselves or each other. Ukraine, that whole war starting, Russia, that they're getting involved and they're having the sanctions happen to them to where McDonald's is leaving. So, okay, that place is changing. No longer McDonald's in Russia. Okay, so they're not a first world, white people country anymore. Ukraine, okay, yeah, they're fucking crumbling. Mexico, yeah, Mexico's been questionable in the first place, but they have a new war in Mexico. The Mexican president declared war on gangs, so they have just this whole fucking thing. They're maybe the only place in the world that's actually going to like the whole world is going to crumble, but Mexico's just going to become like the one good place. And I think that's going to be the funniest shit ever, because the Mexican president's straight up cracking down on his people, and he's like arresting all the gang members, fucking straight up just like telling his fucking SWAT teams to kill gang members if he has it. He's declaring war. He's like, Russia can kill people. And they're just like, oh, the declared war? Well, then I'm just going to start shooting gang members. And if anybody wants to fuck with me, I'll kill them too. I don't give a shit. Human rights? Fuck them. I don't give a fuck. He's like, I will be. So China, fucking freaking out. Fucking Mexico, freaking the fuck out. Ukraine, freaking out. All these other places, about to join NATO. Everything's freaking out. And then over here, people are just losing their shit. Because I think they realize that the world is like fucking, this is like one of the last good places in the world, like America and like a few other places, like, but those places are slowly crumbling also, is what I'm trying to show you, is that I live in a first world society. I have all this money and all this stuff, and you know, I'm so privileged in so many ways, but the place I live is insane. And I straight up am, for the first time ever, starting to fear for my safety, because normally I'm just like, nah, kill me, you'd be doing me a favor. Or just like, normally I'm just like, what do you mean it's dangerous? There's a bunch of pussies. I don't give a fuck if they're not shooting at me. Who cares if I hear gunshots every night? It's not dangerous. They're not shooting at me. Or like, normally I tough it out. But as of like recently, especially after throwing this edit together and watching all these videos, I'm like, even the cops are like, oh yeah, it's actually pretty unsafe around here. I'm like, oh God. It's actually becoming like notoriously bad. And it's fucking weird because it's like, okay, all the people that you know are normal people. How is there so many terrorists just living among us? And they just come out of the shadows at nighttime? It's like, that's when I'm awake and alive though. I'm pretty much nocturnal. Great. So I just live in this little hell pit. And my time is the fucking killing hour. Great. Oh yeah. Just love that. That's pretty much why I had this on the... It's the one thing that I know I'm going to do every day. Quick, everybody freak the fuck out. And it's funny because I was talking about this not even that long ago. I straight up was trying to like show like, okay, so now that you've seen the frickin' news articles, that's what I was pointing to in my last video. Not that anyone saw that. But no. Yeah, so I was bringing this up before. And people probably thought I was being dramatic, or they probably thought I was just trying to be interesting. But no, yeah, this is what I was talking about. It's like people see little events like this, and yeah, it changes the minds of people. Because not is this him slapping somebody, but like I said, it's a what happened. Oh, somebody broke the rules in front of all of us and nothing happened. Oh, well, that's starting us for like. And you know what's fucked up about that? All this crime happening in my town. I live in Tacoma. There's this giant spike in crime. And then I think that might just be everywhere though, because I look on YouTube and the suggested videos are like, oh, that's actually happening everywhere. There's like a fucking raise in shootings. Like people are getting shot like every fucking day now. And I used to think, how did that not happen? There's so many people and everybody's violent. You know, every time I saw a mass shooting or every time I saw somebody get shot on the news, I was like, how does that not happen every day? But so now it is like happening every day. And you want to know why? I work at a pizza restaurant, and we got robbed, and the guy just vanished into the sunset. And we even had cameras, and we were like, oh, this is what he looked like. Oh, he had a mask on. Oh, this was his car. Oh, he can't read the license plate, and even if we could, so he just vanishes off into the sunset for God knows what reason, and he gets away with it. So me and my coworkers start festering, oh, isn't that weird that he kind of just like, got away with that? Oh, it's just funny. As long as he just, it just comes in the middle of the night, and he just decides to be a dick, he can just, get away with it. And then you hear about these pot shop robberies. Oh, people just went in the pot shop, shot this guy, vanished off to the sunset. Whoa, isn't it supposed to be some crime scene investigation where you analyze every weird little thing? And isn't murder supposed to be so hard to get away with? And then it happens again down the street, and you're like, oh, they didn't catch that murderer? Is it the same guy? They're like, oh, fuck if I know, because we didn't catch him, so we don't know. And then all these murders start happening, and we're like, oh, we hope it's the same fucking guy. This is on a serial killing binge, but we kind of think that people are catching on to the fact that we're not catching people, okay? And now all this, guy drove through this fucking thing. And just leaves. It's like, who was that? It's like, so did you guys give up on trying to catch people, or are people just getting so good, or like, because it's like, because yeah, people are figuring out that they can just do whatever they want. And there's no consequences. And I hate to just broadcast that on the fucking thing, but I think that it's already fucking been whistleblown because shit's fucking going on. And then this happens on the news, so it's really gonna reiterate the fact that people can just do what they want, and if they have a good enough reason, but there's always a reason. Oh, I robbed this because my family's dying and I need the blah blah. Yeah, but that's happening to everybody. So everybody's family's dying and everybody has blah blah. So should everybody just go out and rob people? No. And it's like, just get a job, fucking live your life, work 9 to 5, just fucking figure it out, bro. We live in a society with all this technology and all this fun stuff, and there's sex and whipped cream, and there's fucking fast cars and fucking drugs, and we could have a good ass time if you want to, and if you guys could just calm the fuck down and stop killing each other and robbing everybody. This is exactly what I was referring to, and it's so funny that I mentioned this already, because yeah, boom, there's proof that this shit's been happening for a while now. And I've already been thinking about it, and it's already been having its consequences, and boom, bang, bing, right there. I think that's so funny. And it's so funny because, yeah, when I mentioned, what did they give up on trying to catch people? Yeah, so many of these freaking news articles are like, we're looking for a man who police are looking for. They're still on the loose. This shooting giant happened. Just suspects are still large. It's like literally.
No word yet on a suspect.
She still doesn't know if the crook has been caught.
Nothing's been done. Bashed into a Walgreens and got away with money.
Her story tonight as detectives work to uncover who killed her.
Now the suspect, though, is still outstanding.
Police are searching for a woman who...
Deputies are now on the hunt to find those responsible.
Tacoma, where police are searching for a suspect tonight accused of stabbing a father and son in broad daylight.
This time, we don't know anything about the person responsible for that shooting.
They're inundated, and these people know it. Like, they know that they can get away with it.
Enforcement is nearly impossible in these situations. State laws prevent officers from chasing after fleeing cars just for reckless driving.
It's funny because I was born in Tacoma, but I grew up in Gig Harbor, right? Which, for the majority of you that don't know, I was born in a questionable environment, and my parents moved to a better town that's close by. There's like a whole bridge separating it. It's like a famous bridge. My parents moved me over there to go to school. So I never went to school in Tacoma. I went to school in Gig Harbor. And I was raised in a, pretty nice place. Even though my family itself struggled, we at least struggled in a good place. Yeah. And I always, as a kid, said I never wanted to live in Tacoma, or I never wanted to even go there, because it was ghetto or crazy or ridiculous, or like, I don't know, people from that side of town, Gig Harbor or whatever, they have a different view of people in Tacoma, right? I moved over here when I was 18, and it's so much more my style, and it's so much more me than Gig Harbor for sure. And it's funny, I have not ever gone back to Gig Harbor. But yeah, so my parents moved me away from Tacoma so that I could go to school. And then it's funny, when I became an adult, I moved back over here. And each time that I've moved, I've moved further and further away from Gig Harbor. And right now, I am in the eye of the storm. That's for sure. And I'm going to prove that to you. But it's funny because I've lived here since I've been 18. But in the time that I've lived here, things have just gotten just so bad. Just ridiculous. Just so, like... And it's not even, like, that bad. Because it doesn't, like, affect me... Well, it sort of affects me directly. Because I did get robbed at my work. But it's like... But I'm going to get to that. So, I'm going to just mention this map because a lot of people watching this, 99% of the population, is not going to know this area. So I'm going to pull up a little map, okay? How exciting. The only reason that I'm going to bring this up is to show you that I am in the eye of the storm. Literally. And it's actually kind of funny. Because these news articles are totally going to prove this. Okay, so, for those of you that are not from this area, so everybody in the world, listen up. All these news articles are going to say all these different things. And you're going to be like, Kyle, what do you mean that this is all happening in your town? They're labeling like 7 different towns. Or they're calling off like 20 different places. But, so, interesting enough. Okay, there's this little sub place right here called Lakewood. You see this place right here called Parkland, right? You see South Tacoma, South End. And then you see Fircrest, Hilltop, all these areas that are labeled on this map right here, right? So I live, without giving it totally away, I live in this area. Somewhere, let's say, in this area. And I work in this area. Right? So from here to here, it's a decent drive, right? But what's interesting is because, okay, I don't know how familiar you guys are with maps or space or like whatever the fuck, but okay, this seems like a giant area. But I drive this every day, and it only takes me, 15 minutes if there's no traffic, 45 minutes at most if there is traffic, to drive from here to here. And you see, as I make that drive, I'm going from Parkland, and if I go this way, I go from Parkland through Lakewood, through South Tacoma, into Central Tacoma. But if I go this other way on this part of the road, I go through Parkland, down to the south end, through Hilltop, and up through into Central Tacoma, right? But something interesting about that is, okay, I live right here in a place called Parkland, right? What I'm trying to get at, I've lost everybody, everybody's already tuned out. You see, it says Parkland, Lakewood, South End, South Tacoma, Midland. Okay, so, I live in Parkland, okay? And if you go just down the street, you're in a place called Lakewood, okay? But they're all Tacoma, okay? If you live in Lakewood, you get a piece of mail, it'll say your address, Tacoma, Washington. I live in Parkland, but I don't say that I live in Parkland. I say that I live in Tacoma. And when people say, where do you live in Tacoma? I say, Parkland. Okay, they're all subsections, okay? Tacoma is this big-ass place. But I drive through all of it all the time, right? I'm always driving around all of it. And the funniest part about this is all of the crime is taking place right here, right here, right here. In a triangle around me. I am in the triangle of destruction. So let me tell you that from this area to this area to this area, like this giant area, is not as big of an area as it seems. I mean, yeah, it's like a big-ass place. It's like where my whole life is, like where all my, like, friends and family or immediate whatever, like, is. And it's like, yeah, there's like fucking 70 grocery stores in that area probably. But it's like, but you can drive from one of it to the next and it doesn't even take an hour. So, I just want to give you that context for this area. Oh yeah, and one other thing that's going to be relevant is this whole area is referred to as Pierce County, okay? All of Tacoma, whether it's Lakewood, Puyallup, Parkland, Fircrest, that's all Pierce County. So that's another relevant thing. And it's funny because Salishan is just like a neighborhood. It's just like a housing complex. It's just like so big and like ridiculous that it's just like its own place. Might as well just be its own little city or its own little subsection of Tacoma. So it's just this area. The area that I roam around all the time. So since COVID has started, I don't know if that has anything to do with the rise in crime. I don't know what the rise in crime has to do with. But people are losing their shit lately. And I can tell you about a dozen things right here and now that are insane that have happened in this city that are not on the news right now. I'll tell you. So I'm straight up not even exaggerating or lying. I'm going to tell you. I'm just going to go off right now a bunch of things that are not on these news articles. Because I'm literally going to show you a billion of these news articles. And you're going to be like, why are you showing me a billion fucking news articles? These news articles, there were so many of them in this area in the past year that it was ridiculous to edit. It was annoying to edit. So you have to watch this and be thankful because it took so much time to edit this. And I edit for fun and I do this all the time. But even I thought, oh well, this is getting tedious. This is annoying. This is too much footage. Because just in the past year, there's been so many fucking ridiculous things, mostly of them murders, but just like the thing that made me look into it is because literally like 3 nights ago, I fucking like pretty much drove past a murder and didn't even know it because I turned the news on one morning and I heard there was 3 murders in one night in Tacoma, one of which I pretty much drove past. It said at 3 in the morning on South Tacoma Way, somebody got shot. And it's funny because I leave work on Fridays and Saturdays around 2:30. I'm driving through that area at around 3. There was a fucking drive-by shooting by like where I do my bank deposits for my job at that time. There was a drive-by shooting, and then there was a shooting on South Tacoma Way, and then in this other area, somebody got set on fire in a trailer. Yeah, all in the same night. And so I was kind of fucking freaked out by that. And so I decided to like look into like the crime that's been happening because it's no secret around here that shit has been fucking popping off. There's been a giant like surge in like robberies and shootings. If you don't live around here, you might not have heard about it. But for the people who live around here, it's very obvious. And you know when it first involved me? Is me at my job. I help run a pizza restaurant, right? I'm like one of the main dudes. So I'm always there closing at nighttime, right? And this girl and I got robbed one night. They didn't like point a gun at us, but they like had it in their pocket and was like, all the money in the till and under the till. And it was just like such a nonchalant, just like, okay dude, here's your fucking $80. Like, and it was just over in 2 seconds. And then she's just like, we just got robbed. And I was like, yeah, I'm standing right here. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah. And then the 7-Eleven, literally a block away, got robbed the same night, except for it was like more people, and it was like a whole violent thing. And it makes me wonder if it was the same people, because this one was just some dude just like, give me the money. And apparently the 7-Eleven that got robbed the same night was like a whole group of people that were like fucking being crazy about it. And then literally on the other side of me, somebody drove into a Walgreens. And no, it's not the Walgreens that they drove into and stole the ATM. It's a different Walgreens on the same road. I think they just drove into it drunk and like they didn't steal anything. They just drove through the front door because they're stupid. But yeah, so there's those things. We're not even getting started. I'm still on the stuff I'm not going to show you news clips of. Okay, so not only that happened 3 days ago, but okay, let's go back to about, what is it, 2 weeks ago? Somebody gets killed in the Jack in the Box drive-thru by my house. And I was like, oh shit, what the fuck? And then, literally a day later, there was 2 cars involved in a shooting. Whatever that means. 2 cars involved in a shooting where an SUV flipped over. 4 people got shot. 2 people got killed. Like 5 people like injured. Like I was like, what? What was that? What the fuck was that? It was like right down the road from my house too. That happened. And then there's this thing about all these street races. I haven't really seen too much of the street races. I mean, sure, I'll partake in some of the accidental street races that happen when I decide to take the freeway home at night. I swear to God, when you go on the freeway, like every time I close, I'm leaving about like either like midnight to like 3 in the morning, right? And then every time I get on this freeway at 3 in the morning, there's somebody fucking hauling ass. And you know what? If there's 6 or 7 people that are just hauling ass, I'm going with the flow of traffic. You know, maybe I won't try to race them, but I'll go a bajillion miles an hour also if I'm going with the flow of traffic. If they're going a bajillion miles an hour and there's so many of them. But no, you know what's interesting is, yeah, ever since COVID, this is another thing that's happened since COVID. And I kind of thought, are people just like convinced that it's the end of the world? Because it kind of seems that way. Because there would just be donuts in the middle of the road now. And they mentioned it in this news article thing that I'm going to show you. But they're not even showing, like, the good stuff, though. Because I should take some of my own pictures. I'm actually going to go take some of my own pictures of these homeless encampments. Because I was, like, looking at some of these pictures, and I was like, okay, well, you guys obviously suck ass at this, okay? Like, take a better picture. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you guys? You know what I mean? Like, is that your professional photographer? Like, what the fuck, dude? Like, are you fucking kidding me? Like, like, you got a good-ass camera? I'm gonna use my fucking $100 piece of shit phone, and I'm gonna take a better picture. What the fuck is wrong with you guys? You guys have all these lenses and shit? Go home. You're fucking dumb. Because, yeah, they can't take a good picture of the shit. And so I see it with my own eyes all the time, and I'm like, oh, well, this is ridiculous. So I'm going to go take better pictures of this stuff, and I'm going to take better pictures of the donuts on the road. Because donuts are like noob shit. Donuts are for, I don't know. But there's just straight up like squiggle marks going up and down roads, or there's like figure eights in roads, or there's just fucking like so many people are doing, like, roads have been fucking carved up. And I've never seen just be driving and there's just a fucking perfect fat donut in the middle of just like the main intersection. I'm like, when did this happen? And then you see this stuff on the news, you're like, oh, well, the cops tried to break up these street races like all the time. I've literally seen this. Like, yes, this figure eight picture is obviously like some fucking ad or some drone footage or something. But most of these tire mark pictures that I'm showing you are actual pictures of like our roads, but I couldn't find like one of the figure eight or like the perfect donut, but like this figure eight, like I've literally seen these. In this article, I'm gonna show in my little fucking mashup of bullshit, but I'm just gonna point out right here that this also just kind of proves my point real quick. That yeah, you can see the tire marks on the road, and it says that the police drive through a crowd of people. That was because they were trying to break up a street race. Okay. And you can tell from that other picture that, yeah, they were doing donuts in the middle of the fucking road. And you can see all the tire marks. It's not because the cops all came in hot, like, we're trying to stop everybody. No, it's because the fucking people have been carving the roads up and doing donuts and doing crazy shit. And they do it everywhere, all the time. All the time. There's always people fucking hauling ass places. Like, it's just straight up, they're just like a new member of society. It's just like, oh, there's just racers now that just live among us. They just haul ass every now and again. And it's like, yeah, I've literally seen these perfect donuts. It's fucking crazy. And it's funny because, yeah, one of them happened like down the street from my house. It's so funny because every place that they're about to mention, whether it's Lakewood, whether it's fucking Puyallup, whether it's South Tacoma, whether it's fucking Parkland or Salishan, those are all of those places are like a 10-minute drive at most from my house. I'm in the middle of all of those things. If you remember the map or if you know it, yeah, I'm literally in the middle of all these things. And when they said they were talking about the street races and they interviewed that girl saying it's a lawless city, that's literally down the road from me. I was wondering what the fuck I've been hearing. No, just kidding. I'm not that close. But, I mean, I do hear explosions and gunshots all the time. That's nothing new. I kind of live sort of in an area where it's sort of getting a little rednecky as you go that way. And they just blow shit up. Stripe just blows stuff up. But yeah, and people just drive like they don't give a fuck either. I was literally like driving to the store, fucking like, I'm so lucky I didn't die here because I was just driving to the store one night. I shoulda, woulda, coulda sort of like blown the stop sign or just California stopped like I normally did because it was the middle of the night. There was no cars anywhere. I couldn't see any lights or any other cars, so I was just strutting along, and I was thinking about just California stopping on the stop sign. But good thing I didn't, because there was just this dude without his lights on that blew through the other side of the four-way at like 100 miles an hour. And so I'm just literally like, and then just, I was like, oh, fuck. Just, but with no lights on in the middle of the night. And and it wasn't very like loud until it just like, I was like, oh, holy shit. I was like, and I didn't even realize that road was like long enough for him to get that much momentum. It was like to go that fast. But I mean, it obviously is. I just am dumb and don't think about things. But I was like, holy shit. That guy like turn some lights on or make more noise next time? Or like, what the fuck, dude? Jesus Christ. But okay, so yeah, I see crazy shit all the time. I literally saw a guy. Driving at nighttime freaks me out, okay? I'm kind of done dealing with it. And you know what, to be honest? It's gotten to the point where I straight up cannot even play around anymore. It's gotten to the point. And it's fucked up because I'm also going to buy... I'm going to buy an assault rifle, okay? I have all these weapons. I have the spear over there. I have this, what is it, crossbow? That also fires, like, metal balls. So it's just pretty much a gun that shoots arrows. But yeah, this thing... Fuck it to me, motherfucker. So yeah. Yeah, straight terrible stuff. My neighbors right here, they've had the cops there. But the more concerning thing is they've just had, like, teams of scientists. Like, just... It's like, what does that mean? It's like, do they have a COVID outbreak? Or is there a meth lab? Is there a rotted, like, pile of bodies? Like, why is there hazmat suits going in there? And then my neighbors on this side, my Ukrainian neighbors, no longer going to call them my crazy Russian neighbors because they're Ukrainian. And there's a big difference, apparently. Yeah, there is. I know that now. But my dad and I thought that they were just drunk and yelling at each other one night. Because at 3 in the morning, we just hear yelling and blah, 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 blah. And we look out and we see somebody in their underwear running around. And we're like, goddamn drunk Russians, right? What are you going to do? This is back when we didn't know they were Ukrainian. But yeah, they, our neighbors. And we were like looking out the window like, oh, what the fuck are they doing? Turns out, find out the next day, they were being robbed. We were like, oh, there goes us being judgmental pieces of shit. Just like, they're probably drunk and they're just like, all 12 of them are fighting each other now. It's because they had too much vodka or some prejudice, racist shit like that. But no, what had happened was somebody just was in their house. And apparently they chased him out. And that's what I was witnessing, is that my neighbor in his underwear chasing somebody that ran out of his house pretty much into our yard, like hopped the fence and like ran that way. So, because we didn't even care that we saw them partially in our yard. We were like, they're drunk. Let's just let them do whatever. But no, they're chasing people away. And yeah, we've caught those neighbors on our camera being robbed. We have a camera. We have cameras everywhere, but one of them points towards the road and it catches the front of their house. We've caught somebody robbing them on camera. And they were like, oh, what the fuck? Hell yeah, that's amazing. But yeah, it's funny. They've been robbed, and we're just sitting here like, we have so many weapons. Please don't try anything. Someone will die. You know what I mean? It's not going to be like an underwear fucking duel in the front yard. It's going to be like, beep, bop, beep, boop. Like, someone's going to die. It's probably going to be me. But okay, so there's that shit. Yeah, so I got robbed in my job. Fucking all these other places get robbed. Like, that's why I had to make this montage. I had to make this mashup because it's just so ridiculous. It's just like, a 14-year-old was shot. It's like 2 men were killed when a man was kidnapped, and 3 men were shot, and a 25-year-old was shot, and a 39-year-old was shot, and 2 women were shot, and a 13-year-old was shot. This is straight up just like a line. And let me remind you that all these news articles, I'm not even repeating any of these. And this is all the same area, all within the past year. Maybe even the past 6 months, pretty much. It's just nuts. There's so many, it's like you can't even hear about all of them. And then, like, the ones that I heard about, like, weren't even on, like, this news. Like, when those people got killed down the road and then killed at the Jack in the Box, I didn't even see that on the news. Or, like, when my store got robbed, that wasn't on the news. But yeah, it's just insane. And yeah, and then they're just like, oh, all these people are still large. And it's like, great. Like this person that fucking just ran like into an apartment complex and just started like spraying the side with bullets with an AK and then just ran off. They're like, oh yeah, we have no. How would we catch him? You're like, what do you mean? You're like, I don't know. Can you find the bullets and like analyze like something? What do you mean? Like, I don't know. What do you mean you don't know who it was and you'll never probably catch him? What? Or like, yeah, this guy just walked up to this guy at the gas station, shot him in the face, and just walked off. It's like, yeah, we have camera footage, but he was wearing a mask. But everybody's wearing a mask. I don't know, he just kind of looked like this guy. The suspect is still large. If anybody has any information, that's what they always say. If anybody has any information. All of these fucking murder cases is, yeah, so if anybody has any info on who, you know, that we could definitely use that, you know. Oh, what? So if people go out and kill somebody and they keep it a secret, oh, we'll never find him. Unless he had an accomplice. Like, what the fuck? Oh, unless they're going just telling their whole family, which I'm imagining they're not. They're like, they're watching the news and they're like, oh, yeah, they're looking for anybody to, like, if anybody has any info to come forward. That means they don't have any leads. Oh, which means I just don't have to tell anybody and I'll get away with it. Or okay, so for my future crime, I just don't have to have anybody with me, or I'll just really seal up my loose ends and I'll just get away with it as long as I just don't blab about it. And there's nobody to give any tips away about me. Then it's like, so if nobody sees it and the cops aren't there when it happens, they just get away with it. That's pretty much what it seems like. Wasn't that only supposed to be in the 40s? Isn't that like an old joke? Like before there was technology and before there was all this and that, it's like, oh yeah, as long as you were gone by the time the cops got there, you got away with it. It's like, how come that's coming back? How come that's a thing now all of a sudden again? Like what? So ridiculous. Because I'm pretty sure they never caught the guy that robbed my store. We just told the cops, we were like, yeah, here's this guy, here's the description. They're like, yeah, well, I guess we'll go that direction that he drove off in, but to be honest, who fucking knows? And I was just like, yeah, I guess, yeah, this isn't the movies. You're right. Yeah, what are you gonna do? And then that's happening even when people get blasted now. You're like, well, don't you have like CSI type shit though or something? They're like, yeah, that doesn't even really work. You're like, what? Doesn't it though? You're like, well, there was no way this isn't. Is that what you rely on this whole time? So all these people that are just coming in the nighttime? Coming in the nighttime. It's like, oh, you just have to make sure there's no witnesses and I'll win. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's why I'm like, okay, so I'm going to arm myself. And I guess that's what it's coming down to now. Jesus. It's funny because the other day I was sitting outside my work just kind of like getting some fresh air, like vaping. Around 2 a.m, and I was like talking to some of my coworkers. Like every time a car would drive by, I just kept thinking, there was like a drive-by the other day. Like no reason, people just drove by at like 2 a.m. and like shot up this place, like just down the road. So I was thinking like, I wonder if that's like possible to happen to us. And, like anything's possible, but like, and then I had an epiphany. We totally did we already gotten driven by, drive-by'd. We've already gotten drive past. We've already gotten driven past with bullets flung at us. Except for nobody was there. One day, I'd say maybe a year ago now, ish. I don't know. One day we went there and our freaking window was broken. Like the window that's on our door. And then like the people next to us, not right next to us, but a few places over, like in the same complex, this Thai restaurant, they got their windows broken out. And like you could tell the trajectory. Like somebody was driving from the road. And yeah, I don't even know if it was like a pellet gun or like what the fuck. But like you could tell, it probably wasn't like a gun but you could tell that somebody drove by and like shot our windows, and you could tell because there was like little holes in them and they were like rippled out. I mean, it could have been like a 22. I mean, I don't know what the fuck it was. Could have been a BB gun. But somebody already drove by and shot up our restaurant with something. And then I had that epiphany the other day. Yeah, I've had to deal with some ridiculous things living out there. Or living out here. I just want to point out that when COVID started, I don't know if this is a coincidence or what the fuck, but so there's always been like crazy people that wander the streets of Tacoma, right? Just like homeless people. But you never saw their tents and shit. But when COVID started, all of a sudden, because, okay, so think about this. I've been driving from here to here, just through this fucking, just chaotic wasteland of this fucking city. I've been going to work every day through COVID. Like, it has not affected my work hours at all. If anything, I've worked more because everybody else stopped working or like didn't want to work. But it's funny because, yeah, I worked through the pandemic, right? And I straight up would drive through this area every day, and I have watched this shit evolve. I have straight up watched it evolve. And there is tents everywhere now. And it started when COVID started. I've been driving this route for 2 years before COVID started. And then, yeah, I've been watching it evolve. Every time I pass it, it's like some crazy shit. And now, this frickin' encampment thing, I saw. It's funny. It's right across the street from where I bought my first gun. It's like, I was driving through there one day, and like, not all that much was different, and you can like barely see under this thing. It's like, you gotta be in this one part of the road, and it's like when you're driving, you gotta look over at a specific time. But it's funny, yeah, I was driving through there fucking one day, and I look over, and I was like, holy fuck! Like, I literally, like, laughed, and had to have a conversation with myself about how crazy it was for like the next 5 minutes driving past it. Because I think my immediate reaction was like, I was driving past it, I looked over, and I saw a sea of tents under this overpass. They just turned into an actual third world country. Like, there was a city. There was its own city. Like, there was like markets, and there was like fucking fires, and there was like a flow, and there was like fucking like people building structures, and like and like it was a homeless fucking city. And I swear to God, I'm just driving one day to work, and like I'm taking the scenic route this one time because I'm like, hey, it's a nice day. I got enough time. I'm gonna go this way. And I was like at a stoplight, and I'm driving past. And I look over, like, holy fuck! I was like, holy shit, because I did not think that I had. Like, I was like, dude, I swear I was through here like a month ago. Did all this shit just happen? Like, holy fuck. Because I noticed like all this fucking tents popping up on this road. I'm even going to show you footage of it if I have some of it from my car. Because I filmed a lot of it. I was like, I couldn't help it. Because I was like, well, this is definitely ridiculous. And shit just started fucking... So, and yeah, the fucking tent cities. I realized one day, I was like, oh, there's just a few of them. Next day, you're like, oh, this whole road is filled up. Then one day I realized, oh, this whole road and this road and this road. Or, oh, if you're between, like, 54th and 38th, like, oh, all these roads. And then, like, 3 that way. And it's like, it's slowly growing, is what's scary. There's places in Tacoma where it's literally, like, walking into, like, a third world country. Or, like, just, like, a fucking, just like, one of the worst places. You know what I mean? Yeah, like, as bad as you, like, you see the shit, like, in... San Francisco or like wherever the heck it is in LA, you see the homeless situation over there. Yeah, that's how it is in Tacoma. And sure, the areas might be small, but oh my god, they're not small anymore. Oh my god, entire neighborhoods have been taken over, and these places under overpasses, they've just been taken over. There's this place called the Underground, which is like just under like a freeway system. It's not like actually underground, but it's like off this weird beaten path, and people don't even know where it is. Like I showed this model chick, like I took pictures there one time and like put it on my Instagram, and this model chick was like, where is that? And I was like, it's the Underground. And she's like, yeah, you should show me where that's at. And like I actually did, because yeah, it's like a hidden weird little place, and you got to go like down this train track, and like then all of a sudden it opens up. And I used to go down there and like just take pictures, because there's crazy graffiti, and it goes into this like little tunnel, and like it goes under this overpass, and people spray painted. And it's this big open area, and it's this trippy place. One day I went down there, and it turned into its own city of just homeless ridiculousness. People had built shit. People had dragged fucking trailers down there. People had been like, I was like, oh my god. I went down there to like, you know, buy some foreign potions or whatever. I went down there to, you know, I was on some sort of mythical quest, you know, some magical drug quest had brought me down there. And it's funny because I remember I went with my friend, and I was like, oh yeah, we're going down here. I know this place. Yeah, I used to come down here a lot. And it was fucking different. I was like, oh, since when is it a city? Since when is it a homeless fucking city? But then I heard it got cleared out, except COVID hit. And I have not been there since COVID hit. I bet you anything, it's its own country now. I really want to go down there with a camera just to see what that place is like, because I guarantee you it's not cleared out. It's so, and it's in a dumb little place. Like this one that I drove past and saw when I was driving. That one could be cleared out, but the Underground, I bet you anything that's going to be its own fucking country here in about fucking, you know, a year or two if shit doesn't clear up. And I'm going to go down there and film it.
Where a toddler was reportedly left alone in a hotel room with drugs and printed money.
The child is now safe as police investigate what happened.
A bail bond agent who was here looking for a specific individual is the one who made the 911 call. The agent gained access to a room where he believed the person he was looking for would be. Instead, he found a 2-year-old child left alone in the room with a pile of drugs and counterfeit money.
A suspect in an attempted home burglary is dead after Pierce County Sheriff's deputies say he broke into a horse trailer and refused to come out when it was set on fire.
Yeah, it happened in University Place last night.
So deputies say essentially the homeowners noticed a man trying to push his way into their house. He was in his underwear only. A deputy found the man on the property and spotted him breaking into a horse trailer, and while waiting for backup spotted smoke coming from the trailer. Now this is all happening while West Pierce firefighters are responding for that fire as well. Deputies also told the suspect to come out, but he did not, and after the West Pierce firefighters extinguished the fire, they found the man dead.
We are following breaking news in Tacoma right now. A man suspected of hitting 2 Tacoma police officers with a stolen SUV is now in jail.
Well, police officers in Tacoma are very busy this morning as they investigate an overnight homicide.
South Tacoma Way, it was about 3 this morning. They found a 56-year-old man shot.
Not really shocked. We had a stabbing in our back alleyway not that long ago. It seems like something's always going on down this street.
And with a tragic story out of Tacoma, a mother is dead and her 3 young children are in protective custody.
Tacoma police are now investigating the young mother's death as a homicide.
2, 3, and 5 years old. Those are the ages of these 3 kids, and they actually play a key role in all of this because it was them crying that alerted a neighbor that something was wrong. That neighbor talked to the kids and then eventually called 911. Now, police show up. They're investigating this as a murder at this point. They note that they did see evidence of a shooting inside, and the victim in this case is just 24 years old.
High speeds, burned out tires, large chaotic meetups, always ending in these flashing lights as legal street racing returns to the streets of Tacoma. This past weekend, racers took to city streets from Friday night into Saturday morning.
Yeah, it's not just loud noise and big crowds. These events usually end in damaged property, sometimes even police chases. Tonight, AJ Janavel spoke with those in the community now hoping to see change.
Friday night, dozens of people descend on the intersection of 84th Street and Park Avenue in Tacoma. It's about 11 o'clock at night. Mayhem ensues.
I see flames shooting up.
Sarah lives right down the street. She and her partner Dawn moved into the neighborhood a couple of years ago. They love their home and their neighbors, but say what happened this past weekend is terrifying.
We have a lawless city right now.
Sarah tells me she called the police several times to report the chaos.
But when officers arrived, the racers just scattered. It was a busy night for police. They responded to 11 different calls for street racing throughout the city.
Police are inundated, and these people know it. Like, they know that they can get away with it.
Enforcement is nearly impossible in these situations. New state laws prevent officers from chasing after fleeing cars just for reckless driving. And regardless of new laws, Tacoma police say they would not pursue if it endangers the public.
There are no repercussions. My neighbors don't want to call the cops anymore.
The remains from Friday's mayhem are still visible on the streets outside Sarah's home.
Here at Fox 13, we've been on top of the continuing problem of crime in our area, especially in Tacoma. Neighbors and business owners are begging for help as crime rates soar. And no neighborhood is immune from this rise in crime.
Just see the guy stand there, look around, throw the rock, and walk off.
She still doesn't know if the crook has been caught.
Nothing's been done.
South Tacoma is a hellhole.
On Tuesday, neighbors blasted Tacoma Council, saying crime has been rising, but police response is not.
We're scared. I just went and got my paperwork in for a concealed,
I do hair. I don't want to have to shoot somebody. So that's where I'm at.
Off the top at 10 tonight, just days after a sheriff's deputy was killed in the line of duty, more deadly violence in Pierce County.
Now, as they mourn the loss of one of their own, they're trying to solve another homicide after a 15-year-old was shot and killed. The levels of stress are very high right now for law enforcement.
We just had 2 murders last night here in Pierce County. When I was out in Parkland talking to people about this 15-year-old that was killed at this apartment complex, well, as I was leaving, the people I was talking to were basically saying they want out too.
The carjacking and the shootings and the everything is just too much because the violence is getting too much.
Just a few miles away, a robbery at this pot shop turned deadly as well. All of this as the department investigating it is still dealing with a loss of their own. Deputy Dom Collada died after he was shot earlier this week in Spanaway while working with his SWAT team members. This week, Deputy Collada's death has drawn added attention, but deadly shootings were already piling up. This week began on Sunday with a 22-year-old woman shot to death on East House Street in Tacoma. On Monday, it was a 48-year-old found dead in this strip mall.
The deputies were escorted to the hospital, all of that action shutting down area roads for hours.
So unfortunately, we've gotten good at this, and that's a sad thing to say, that we've gotten good at taking care of officer deaths.
3 stores hit in just 4 days. All pot shops, all robberies, all taking a deadly turn.
And with breaking news here on King 5 out of Tacoma, police are investigating 2 homicides. First, a drive-by shooting happening at about 11:15 last night. A few hours later, and about 4 miles away, a man was shot and killed on South Tacoma Way.
Begin with breaking news this morning in Tacoma. Police are searching for a woman who's accused of hitting and killing her estranged husband with her car.
Somebody must have came from somewhere and just started shooting.
A random act of violence rocked this apartment complex in South Tacoma early this morning. Over a dozen bullets flew into the residence of a 63-year-old woman. Deputies are now on the hunt to find those responsible.
But first, it was the morning of Valentine's Day when Tacoma police believe Jen Staley was chased down during a road rage incident. That led to a crash and her death.
Tracking some breaking news out of Tacoma this morning where traffic is blocked in both directions after a deadly car crash.
Let me set the scene here just in case you're joining us this morning. This is in Tacoma, as we've been talking about, in the Salishan neighborhood.
Right now, a murder suspect, he is in the hospital after Tacoma police shot him in Lakewood. And you can see it tied up traffic right along South Tacoma Way.
In developing news tonight, Tacoma police say they shot a man today holding some kind of weapon outside the entrance to the Tacoma Mall.
The shooting happening in the middle of the day around 3:30 in the afternoon.
Off the top at 5, gunshots rang out across several streets in Tacoma during a shooting that killed 4 people. That shooting happened on the city's east side in the Salishan neighborhood about 4:30 p.m. yesterday.
Good evening, Joyce. I did, and you could tell that there was a bit of a bittersweet feeling in the air today. The people that I spoke to said that although they were glad that Malik Dominique Pate is behind bars, they still don't understand why their loved ones were targeted, and that is the question they want answered.
I don't know why he did this, and I want to know why.
That question was shared by the friends and family of the 4 victims in October's deadly shooting in Salishan.
Thank you for joining us. I'm Jamie Tompkin. Off Pacific Avenue, and now it is the scene of a deadly crime.
Well, so far, Tacoma police are telling me that they are looking into this as a homicide, but the investigation, as you can imagine, is still active and ongoing. But they did tell me that they believe that this is an isolated incident and this is not a random shooting. From inside El Perla del Mar restaurant shows a normal Saturday night, but a different angle shows a different scene. A lone hooded figure standing outside the window of the restaurant before firing into the building and running off into the night. Footage from inside shows patrons diving for cover, with one falling over after being hit.
Tacoma police are investigating a homicide after a 25-year-old woman was shot and killed.
That short stretch of street has seen a staggering amount of crime. Fox 13's Frankie Thompson joins us live from Tacoma City Hall.
The family of a young mother murdered in South Tacoma sharing her story tonight as detectives work to uncover who killed her.
The 25-year-old was gunned down yesterday morning. Frankie Thompson spoke with her 2 sisters today who say that they're scared for their own lives.
David, Matt, this is a place of worship for people who come to this temple in Tacoma. It's the last place many of them say they thought they would be harmed. After 2 members were attacked on the property earlier this month, they tell me they are full of anxiety and they have a lot of sleepless nights. Video captures an attack at the Kamaite Theravada Buddhist Association in Tacoma.
Police discovered a 31-year-old woman who was shot and killed, her body left in a minivan.
But first this morning, breaking news in Tacoma to report police investigating after an officer shot someone near the 11th Street Bridge. We're following this news from overnight.
Yeah. All right, now to the South Sound, where investigators are looking for a shooter after a road rage incident that turned deadly. A 56-year-old man was killed in South Tacoma.
Also out of Pierce County today, a shooting at a gas station on Hosmer Street. Police say it happened close to midnight, but at this time, we don't know anything about the person responsible for that shooting. Meanwhile, Tacoma police are also looking for answers after a 13-year-old girl was shot while just sitting in her car. It happened while she was parked near a football field. Right now, the suspect, though, is still outstanding.
We want to get right to breaking news in Tacoma right now, where thieves smashed into a Walgreens and got away with money out of the ATM.
Breaking news out of Tacoma this morning. We are just learning 2 men were arrested for kidnapping.
Tacoma police investigating a deadly late-night shooting.
Yeah, it happened just after 10 p.m. on the city's east side.
Police say this homicide happened along East Fairbanks Street here in the east side of Tacoma. They received a 911 call around 10:30 last night reporting someone had been shot at this house. Officers got on scene. They found a 47-year-old man inside the home, unresponsive.
I want my truck back.
Joseph Ellingnack is healing after his run-in with a car thief.
Airbag deployment, couple stitches. I'm really sore.
Joseph kept his truck parked in his parents' yard and used a work van to commute. He was heading to his job early Thursday when his folks called to say someone had taken off with the truck. He started heading to their house.
It was definitely shocking. I mean, I didn't expect to see the guy.
At 47th and Waller, he spotted the thief heading out of the neighborhood in his Ford.
They were going twice the speed limit, and I was trying to follow.
Joseph called 911 as he tailed him.
It was pretty obvious around a couple turns for sure that I was chasing after them.
Joseph says the thief put the truck in reverse and rammed into the front of his van.
Turn now to a disturbing story out of Tacoma, Washington. A police SUV plowing through a crowd of people surrounding his vehicle. The officer driving over and injuring at least one person. Authorities say that officer at that moment was fearing for his safety. Here's ABC's Elwin Lopez.
Tonight, this horrifying moment in Tacoma, Washington, now under investigation. Social media videos showing a Tacoma police officer plowing through a crowd of people.
Oh my God!
Police say they were trying to clear a downtown intersection Saturday night. As many as 100 people watching what they called a street sideshow.
I would say probably like at least 10 different cars doing the donuts.
When a cop showed up, the crowd moved in.
It's funny. I was delivering pizzas, like off and on, around like the time when this happened. And I remember one night delivering pizzas, and by the courthouse, which is by downtown. I drive by it all the time, right? Courthouse, it's like the main place. It's like right in downtown by like the hospital and everything else. They had 2 blocks, like on each side of the courthouse and the police station, all blocked off by cops. They made a perimeter around the police station, like a few blocks, and they had SWAT team cars. All of them had their fucking lights on. It was fucking insane. And they had like fucking people standing there. They had fucking armored vehicles. They had a fucking, like a literal like wall of people and vehicles and everything surrounding the courthouse. Like, and even like when you went down a few blocks, like there was just like there was layers of protection. Because when the cops were trying to break up the street race and they drove through the crowd of people, people got super mad and they started threatening the cops and they said, you need to take responsibility. And it was this whole fucking thing, and the cops knew that they were slightly in the wrong, and people were threatening to storm the police station and the courthouse and fuck it up. They literally threatened so much apparently that the police literally felt like they needed to create a wall around it. And I saw that wall. I was like, what the fuck? I thought it was like, the Capitol siege. I was like, is that happening here now? Like, what is going on? And then, like, I'd heard about that, like, maybe around the time, or I might have heard of what was going on after the fact. But I just remember thinking, like, damn, I've never seen so many cops. Like, what the fuck is happening? Like, Jesus Christ. I was like, holy fucking shit, what the fuck?